Ladies and gentlemen, is the stock market about to head into a major crash? The author of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, predicts that the massive crash has just begun in the market and that millions will be wiped out. And he says to protect yourself by investing in silver, gold, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. As many times this guy has predicted things that have not come to fruition, I'm going to explain why he is somewhat half correct. And I'm going to give my predictions here in today's video. Watch until the end, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn post notifications on. This is exactly what I am doing and what I am seeing. We've seen the Federal Reserve's repurchase agreements, aka repo, jump $50 billion. Normally we look at the Fed's reverse repo, but this is the opposite. And this is the Fed pushing out liquidity to those who need it, aka a bank failing. Something along the lines of that. Somebody needing more collateral. We also saw 7.5 billion, the largest weekly outflow in gold in history. And then we see $100 billion in added federal debt in 4 days. How can that possibly end well? Also, Michael Burry says sometimes we see bubbles, sometimes there's something to do about it, but sometimes the only winning move is not to play. And Berkshire Hathaway is mirroring that exact statement by having a record all-time high cash pile now at 381, almost $382 billion. So what do I expect to happen with the S&P 500? We saw slight profit taking towards the last couple days, and I believe that that is going to continue. Even if we see some sort of relief bounce, I don't believe we're going to break these all-time highs at 689. I think that we see some sort of profit taking over the next 1 to 2 weeks of chop. And what does that mean? What am I predicting? I'm not giving you necessarily a specific target. What I will say is that watch for us to bounce and chop trade, volatility in the market, VIX spiking, people getting a little bit fearful, us drawing down about 4 to 10%. Probably 673.60, 652 range, maybe even lower, somewhere in this region for the SPY for a little bit towards late November. This is what I am talking about, towards late November. We see US M2 money supply rising 4.5% year over year in September of this year to a record $22.2 trillion. We also see November historically doing very well for Bitcoin. All of this tells me, and the end of QT in December by the Fed, okay, that was announced at their last meeting. Right now, this is almost identical, very similar patterns to what we've seen in 08, 09, 2019, 2020, I believe, and now 2025, right? Volatility to downside before the biggest boom that we have seen late November coming into December, right when QT is ending. This is my personal prediction. We'll see if it comes to fruition. We'll see what news we get following that. But is Robert Kiyosaki correct? Why did I say he's half correct? Well, he's half correct because I see a slight correction, but then I see the largest pump, and that pump specifically is going to benefit very well Ethereum and Bitcoin, because Bitcoin follows M2, Ethereum follows Bitcoin, other altcoins as well. I think we are about to see the largest liquidity push coming into late November, December. And what I'm doing right now is I'm sitting on some cash like these big players, waiting to repack my bags for that move higher. Okay? I'm not telling you to follow me. I'm not telling you what to buy, hold, or sell. I don't give financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. What I will say is that we had a beautiful, beautiful week, and we hope to have another beautiful week to come. I'll post some screenshots right here. If I remember, some people killing it in Discord. 13,000 profit on Amazon calls overnight on earnings. Our technicals got hit on Amazon. I didn't like the 50-50 shot Amazon had, as it has been underperforming several blue chip plays. But I said 193 on the chart or 247, and then right around there you had the give or take some change, the fib level in the gray, the fib level in the blue. That's exactly where we spiked up to. Nvidia, same person that ripped those Amazon calls, I believe, called out Nvidia short at 210. Where did Nvidia reject? 212. Now it's all the way down to 202. Google calls paid off, 100% gain. Post some screenshots on those. Apple calls also paid off, a little bit of a gain. Also scalping SPY throughout the week. Overall, get in the Discord server. It's the top link in the description of the video. Do not sleep on it. Now, hedge funds, just like we saw back in 2021, are turning on each other amid SEC probe. Short seller Andrew Left, which was short Gamestop at one point, sued Anson Funds, alleging the firm lied to the SEC about payments tied to a trading investigation. Then we saw GameStop post tapped to see something spooky. Bring that up because that leads us into GameStop AMC. We're seeing HKD run again. If you weren't around during the time HKD was very skeptical, now you're going to see what you might see around two. Because we saw the most volume that this play has ever seen. Last time when it was getting out of hand, we saw a total of 7 million at one point. Now we saw a total of 325 million on HKD. I'm not sure if HKD is done here, but this was some sort of institutional pump. I remember it. Everybody posting DD on Reddit. Some sort of swap, institutional pump going on. And we also saw, I don't know if this correlates, but the repo, right? The $50 billion in repo. Following my predictions, as soon as we get this crash to pop, I think that small caps are going to do very well. But amidst these 1 to 2 weeks of volatility, what do we see? We see GameStop is looking from a technical standpoint like it wants to take another leg down. It looks weak here, right? Here's what I will say. Every time GameStop and AMC, and AMC too, right? AMC too, it's testing its all-time lows, looking like it wants to break down. Coming into Wednesday, it has earnings. There's a lot of tin going around November 5th. November 5th, that's AMC's earnings too. It looks like it wants to break down. Every time GameStop looks like it wants to break down, it's historically known, and this is why I'm not scared of breakdown technicals, it's historically known to just pop right out of it. Oh my God, it looks like GameStop's due for a breakdown. Straight up. Oh my God, it looks like GameStop's due for a breakdown. Straight up. I mean, I could pull up probably 100 different times I've done this, but I also want to state both times AMC and GameStop do squeeze, they break their relative low for a brief moment before rallying higher. I wouldn't mind if we break our relative low coming into mid-November and then we get that liquidity pump in the overall market and we're going to see the biggest moves we've had. If we bring up the psychological resistance, support and resistance on the daily, you're looking for that move up to 25. Bring it on the weekly. You're looking at these big moves up towards 48. Overall, this is my predictions. Will they sell off further? I'm going to talk about BYND real quick. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that they have to. I'm saying that they look like they're trying to set up for a downside move, even though when they do that, they can reverse very quickly. So in other words, I'm not flip-flopping here. I'm saying I'm not betting my money that we move to the downside, but if we move to the downside, I'll load more for that bigger move to the upside. Plain and simple. And if we don't move to the downside, I sit tight and watch for that random pop that GameStop loves to get. BYND looks like it's coming very close to another pop. It's coming very close. Probably filled the gap on a smaller time frame down to 154. You're risking coming into earnings on November 4th, Tuesday. You're risking sub $1.14 on BYND if you play this, which is 30% loss, 30% plus, or obviously you're risking tons and tons of upside. Upside, I would say, of probably 80-90%. And South Korean Beyond Meat investors going viral. This guy put all of his life savings into it at $7. He's obviously down bad, but he's still in. Everyone heard of that. I want to show you the macro a little bit more. Remove the drawings, weekly time frame. What do we see? Well, we see a typical healthy, very healthy run. What we see is huge increase in volume from 900 million to 7 billion on the weekly with a huge green candle. Then we see a major drop with 1.47 billion and Not a lot of volume, right? 1.47 billion volume, and us kind of holding, right? The only thing not so great about this is this huge upper wick. But I will say that it's not telling there's an obvious depiction that beyond is over. So that's just what I want to leave it at. But overall, guys, that is what I got for you for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching more from value added video. Make sure to like the video, turn post notifications on, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord in the link in the description, and go get my pattern detection indicator. That link is also down below. I love you all. God bless. Lottery Stocks out.